But here's what I want you all to do. If you have not done this, we've been really promoting this marriage book. It's good for husbands, wives, whether you're single, you want to be married. If you have people that marriages, they're on the rocks or they're shaky, or they can just add another fire to what they already have. Get this book, Dating Advice for Married Men. Now, you can get it on Amazon. I haven't been telling people this, and I keep forgetting. Any of these books you can get on Amazon, all right? Dating Advice for Married Men. I'm telling you, it's been a blessing. I want to hear testimonies. I've been getting back people saying how they were blessed by reading it. So, listen, while you're actually joining us, so two things I want you to do. Make sure, one, that you invite somebody. Share this. Quickly share this. Go down your list of friends and just click share. The second thing, too, is I want you all to, I don't even know what I was going to say. It was something else.
I blew your mind.
Yeah, you blew my mind. The other thing, too, is make sure that you actually go and get your book, okay? Get your book. The third thing, too, is make sure that you ask questions. We are taking questions on the spot. We have a guest we're going to bring on in a minute, and I cannot...
I'm excited.
I am excited, for real. So make sure that any marriage questions that you have, feel free to type in the question. We're going to kind of like scroll and try to answer these questions as you type them, okay? So please do that. Now, while you're sharing this, something that I haven't done, and I know Nia's over here, she's sharing now. But something I have not done is promote other books that we've had, and I apologize for that, because one of the things in this book, we talk about husbands having intimacy with God, okay? The husbands having intimacy with God, and I recommend a book, especially now we're going to be going towards Lent, the 40-day fast and all that, is get a book called 40 Days of Presence, Drawing Closer to God in 40 Days, okay? You can get it on Amazon. It's a devotional, but it's more than that. I'm telling you, you will experience God in ways that you probably have not experienced them. So I can tell you how this book was written. The Lord appeared to me, and he rebuked me on intimacy. And then he began to take me through a journey on what intimacy looked like from his standpoint. And so I thank Jesus for this. And I'm excited about 40 days of presence, drawing closer to God in 40 days. So wherever you are in your relationship with God, we can always go closer. All right. It also has a workbook with it as well. Make sure you get it on Amazon. 40 Days of Presence.
40 Days of Presence.
And it's a companion journal. And again, also, this is for the ladies. I know this is dating advice for married men, but you're saying brothers are like, okay, what are the sisters going to get? Now, I'm doing all this homework and intimacy stuff. So here's something, and I'm so excited. My wife produced 2 books. This was the first book, Jesus Girl, Stories of Women Wrecked by Love. Story of Women Wrecked by Love. You want to show this?
No,
okay, so
you're doing a good job.
Okay, so this book, I'm telling you, the Lord literally gave her vision on the women that he wanted in the book, and they wrote a story about how they were wrecked by the love of Christ, and it's just amazing. I'm telling you all, please make sure that you get this book, Jesus Girl. It's also on Amazon. Then the Lord told her to write another book. Look, he's giving her more books, so we go. I can't wait for that book. But here's another book, another Jesus Girl as well. This is Jesus Girl, How Do I Move Forward? And again, make sure you go on Amazon. We have testimonies of people talking about what God did for them. And I'm telling you, it's remarkable. Women, please get this. Get this for your daughters. Get it for your friends. Just begin to get these books, all right? So I'm excited what God is doing. So listen, let's talk about marriage.
Let's talk
That's what
about
I want to
it.
talk about, marriage. All right. So I want to bring our guests on. Let me see if we can add them on. Oh, let's see. Bring them on the video. Bring them on the video. All right. Send the invite. All right. So I am excited. I'm excited. This brother has been a blessing to my life, and we've traveled up to where his church is, and we were just the love we got there, the warm reception, and I'm telling
Beautiful
you, this
people.
man, and just what God is doing with him has been amazing, and
You've known him for how long?
oh man, for a long
Since
time.
you can remember, right?
Oh, there we
Hey.
go. All right, so for some reason you have to switch it. You're like sideways. There we go.
All right.
They made us turn ours back too.
Oh man, you can tell he's preaching. Look at it. Preacher, man. What's up, man?
Let me see how to make an
I don't know
adjustment
if,
here.
are you able to hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Let me see.
About how to make an adjustment here on the.
Okay, so your volume is low for some reason. I don't know what that is.
All right. Is it getting any better on your end?
All right. So we're gonna see if we can fix this. Okay. So we got your image, but for some reason the volume. I don't know what's going on with the volume. What's going on, Miss Andria? Hey. Oh my goodness. It sounds good. Okay, who said that? We got people saying it sounds good. Can you talk to us?
Hold on. Let me see if I can make an adjustment real quick.
Okay. Yeah, let's see what we can do to get this volume correct. But listen, while we're getting that straightened out, make sure that you type in some marriage questions. We had some good questions before, like just amazing questions on marriage. Type in questions that you've even asked your spouse, questions that you've struggled with in relationships. What are some things that you were wondering, like, okay, how can we move past this? How can we move past this? And I want to know, and I got a question for you all, is if you can rate, especially since it's dealing with like just your spouse or a friend that you're dating, if you can rate that person's relationship with God from 1 to 10, 10 you feel like, okay, they're close to God, 1, okay, I don't even know if they may know God or not. Tell me, with the relationship that you're in now or relationships you've been in the past, how would you rate that that intimacy level? Even with yours, let us know, because we've been getting across the board people saying that how God was a major part of their relationship and how things work. Okay, so, all right, we see you. Let's see if we can hear you.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
So, evidently we're not hearing. I'm not sure.
Hello.
Let's see.
Are they able to hear us in your broadcast world?
Okay.
I can hear.
You can. Okay. Say something again, man.
1, 2, 3. Hello to everybody.
Okay. Okay, they can hear on there. It's on our end. Let's see.
So you may have your speaker covered.
Okay, let me see what I can do on my end, okay?
They sound good to me on this end. Thank you, Miss Amber. I knew it was him.
Nope.
We knew it was we knew it was Pastor Owens.
I heard that on her phone. Let's see. Okay.
Okay, try it again.
See, I'm saying
now
There
we're
we go.
I don't know what just happened, but it worked.
Yeah, you had the speaker covered.
all right.
Okay.
All right.
It wasn't covered, but okay, we'll go with that.
In there, we're gonna work it out. What's up, Miss Nia? How are you?
Hey, how y'all doing? Hey,
Pretty
beautiful.
good.
Hey.
How are you?
Say we done made it in 2025. We
Oh,
on with
man.
the Owens. Oh Lord.
I know that's right.
Man, I'm glad y'all joined us. Listen, if For those who don't know you, just introduce yourselves, man.
All right. Well, I'm Dr. Adrian Hendricks II, Senior Pastor of the Joshua House Church, and this is my beautiful wife. She ain't gonna say her name.
I am Andria Hendricks.
Wow.
Yes, my wife Andria Hendricks, and we're here in Jefferson City, Missouri.
Yeah.
Of course, with longtime family and friends of Mike and Nia, and Macedonia Baptist Church of East St. Louis, the hometown.
That's right.
And, So we're finally connecting in 2025, and we're glad about it. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yes, thank you.
I'm glad y'all joined us. Okay, so here let's jump into this. So I want y'all
No, let me tell you this. So literally we were asking, like, right when we got off the call last week, and we were asking, we said, oh, we got to do this again. We got to get another couple. And so as soon as I said that, then the Lord showed me you all. And I was like,
wow.
Yeah, this gonna be good.
So Eddie invited y'all.
Hold on to your hat, I guess, right?
So we always try to start like this. How did you all meet?
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
Like how did y'all hook up? Whose story is the right story?
I got the right story. Believe me, I got the right story.
So you know it's 3 versions of it.
Right.
Yep, mine, and then something that she might say.
I just let them lie. It's okay.
Look, listen, I give credit, right? I give credit. As a matter of fact, I was at the Lick University Founders Day coronation today, and they were recognizing a family, and this family met at Lincoln University and have been together for 56 years, and they were awarded today. And I said, listen, I'm gonna let y'all share my story for a little bit while y'all getting this recognition. But that's how we met. I came to Lincoln University to visit. I was supposed to go to California to go wrestle, and my parents wanted to get me out of Chicago for various reasons, which we will not discuss.
Nope.
But we came.
Please discuss.
No, sir. We're talking about marriage. You got to stay focused. Stay focused in 2025.
Okay.
No, and I walked into Martin Hall, which is one of the dormitories, and I saw this woman.
Wow.
I saw this woman, and the room lit up.
Hey.
Mike, listen to me.
Hey.
I've been trying to figure out if it was my brain, if the dendrites in my brain that just exploded, or what. But the room lit up, the sun shined. It was in the basement too. It was like the rec room. The sun shined through the glass window, and I saw her, and I said, there she go, Wow. And after that, then I did all of what I felt necessary to make my presence known. And then she started stalking me, started taking my stuff. I was like, no, not at all. I saw her, she was reading the paper, man. Listen, I thought she was a senior. I thought she was, some sophisticated, advanced student. And I was like, man, I need to find out who that is, because that's the one. And then, I had a couple of partners, and they was all like, yeah, you're not gonna get her, and I'm gonna talk to her. And I'm like, hey, man, shoot your shot, buddy. Shoot your shot. It's all good.
Leave me alone.
I know that that's my wife, right? And so we caught eyes. We failed our first test together when we supposed to been getting our assessment to start college. And I was looking over at her, and she was trying not to look back at me, and we both was not doing what we supposed to been doing.
Wow.
And that started our career as undergraduates, but also began our love story and our lifelong journey together. That's my version. That's what I'm sticking to.
Come on now.
So I want to know, Andria, did he have game?
He was all right. He was all right.
Hey, man, listen, I have favor. He had to point it out. And then when I told him my name, And she was like, you know, no, that's not your name, because her name is Andria and my name is Adrian. And if you move one letter over to the side, you got the other.
Wow.
So, you know, she asked me for my ID like I was a criminal and a thug or something, which I might have been, but that's not the story that we're going to go with. And, you know, we began to build our relationship. And of course, you know, God has opened many doors and blessed us and allowed us to have 3 beautiful children and to walk this road, man, build our church, launch the Joshua House Church, and, you know, walk in vision and purpose. And so we knew that it was an assignment, and we're glad to be a part of it. You feel me?
That's beautiful.
And then I have to also add, during this time, okay, so after I say, yeah, I'll be your girlfriend, because he called me the week before orientation and was like, hey, you coming back to Lincoln? And I was like, yeah, I'm coming back. He was like, so you gonna be my girlfriend? And I was like, I said, yeah, I'm your girlfriend.
Yeah, we gotta get this straight right now. Like, you know, because if not, I'm not coming.
No. So
I'm not coming to college. I'm not going to school. All right.
Wow.
So then after we were dating for 2 weeks, he told me that I was going to be his wife. And I was like, no.
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Wow.
I knew that day. I told you the light, the shining, the whole, I'm telling you, I already knew.
Yeah.
But you know, the crazy part is that I was never that girl that dreamed of being married and having kids. No, I was going to be in Arizona in a 2-seater. You know, I had a different vision. But when he said that, he was like, you're going to be my wife. And I said, wife? Okay. And here we are. It's 32 years now. We've been together 32 years.
2 years.
Y'all don't even look 32.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at these eyes.
Wow.
You know what I mean? The eyes tell the
Wow.
story.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, 32 years. So we've been married, what, 26?
26 years. Yeah, we started this story in 1993 and we rolled.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I got a question. When you all started and where you are now, did you all envision that you all would be where you are?
Absolutely not.
No. No.
What was the plan initially, and like what happened?
Well, you know, if you ask her, she was going to be a nurse and a mortician and a soldier in the military. And like, you know, it was.
I was trying to figure it out.
I thought I was going to go to school and become a physical therapist. My mother was a family practitioner. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go be a physical therapist. And we're going to go back to Chicago and open up a physical therapy, you know,
and I was not moving to Chicago.
Yeah, all of that. They didn't have no physical therapy program, none of that. So, you know, it was really a place where we were trying to navigate life as young people and trying to figure out how to survive and how to, you know, just how to thrive. So none of this leader, community leader, pastor, author, you know, none of these things. Mike, none of this.
What happened?
And wait a minute. And before I even get there, I didn't even know Jesus.
She didn't know Jesus. I knew him.
Yeah. Hold on.
He did not.
What do you mean you didn't know Jesus?
I ain't go to church until I met him for real. I was
Really?
a church goer. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to pull out the street, Mike. I had to pull her out. I said, if you're gonna come with me, you gotta come to church.
Nope, I stayed asleep in the bed. I didn't go to church.
Okay,
So we was gang banging on Monday through Thursday, party Friday and Saturday.
No.
Then you gonna come to church,
brother. Back this out. You know, you already know what I'm about to say. I'm used to women having this story.
Oh yeah.
Where they're dating a guy who don't go to church and they're the church girl. I've never seen. I don't see that often.
Yeah. She's the heathen. That's right.
And wait a minute. And then when he told me he was gonna be a pastor after we got engaged, I don't date pastors or any of that. No.
Yeah. She almost cussed me out. But here's where I can note a significant change. We were going through our undergrad, and you know, Andria she had just found out we were pregnant with our first baby girl, my daughter Sabria, and I was actively flunking out of school. I was doing a good job at not doing none of my work, not doing nothing what I'm supposed to do. And I'm in the back of the classroom on the third floor of Founders Hall, and I'm asking God, I need some help. So the teacher was teaching, and they were talking about Einstein and all of his brilliance and so on and so forth. And I prayed. I asked God. She just said, well, Einstein uses 3% of his brain and all that kind of stuff. And I'm saying, listen, if Einstein can use 3% of his brain, I need 6. I need a double dose. And so I prayed in the back of, I prayed in the back of this classroom, and he turned on the light. He turned a light bulb on in my mind. And after that, I started acing my classes, sitting in the front. I made the dean's list. I actually started to learn and retain information. And you know, I tell people I was suffering and sinking, and God answered my prayer, and he turned it on, man, and we've been rolling ever since.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Wow.
And I found Christ on the box of diapers because I was trying to figure it out.
You found what?
I found Christ.
Come on.
She trying to talk soft.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
No, we hear you.
Okay. I said I found Christ as I was sitting on a box of diapers. And that's where the relationship with me and God, that's when I first had the authentic, real relationship with God.
Okay. Give me that testimony. I want that testimony.
So when I was pregnant with my daughter, I didn't know, we didn't have the resources or the means to do what we needed to do. And so at that moment, I just began to pray because I just felt like I was so alone and didn't know what to do or how we were going to get through to do what we needed to do. And so it was at that moment where I actually opened up and accepted God, Jesus Christ, as the head of my life, and actually began to talk and to have a relationship with him where I felt like we were interacting. And so that's when my authentic relationship with God began, is when I was sitting on that box of diapers, pregnant with my daughter.
Come on, Jesus.
So now I got some follow-up questions. So were you all married at the time? Were y'all dating?
No, we were not married.
No,
we were still dating.
No,
okay.
I told you, man, it was all bad. Everything was wrong. You know what I mean?
So we were backwards.
But I knew she was gonna be my wife. But you know, it was a whole bunch of other things.
So
we did everything backwards. Everything was backwards.
It was backwards. But were you praying for her at that time?
Praying that she would accept
Christ? Like what? How did that? Like that's just some supernatural stuff, man. I'm
well,
trying to figure this out.
Listen. You know, again, I think God was unpacking our destiny as we were moving along, because there were lots of layers to our story. We did not anticipate being these people, right? And most of the people around us didn't either, right? So all of my friends was gangsters and drug dealers and so on and so forth.
We was hopeless junkies.
Yeah, it was bad, bro. It was it was bad, you know what I'm saying? Wow. But it was kind of in that process where, you know, he just kept chipping away and helping me to see a different opportunity, right? A different person. He just kept pulling me in. And I would share these conversations with her because we all we got, right? We are depending on each other to survive through all of our hardships. And so I don't have a car, she don't have a car, we walk together, right? Wow. You don't have no money, I don't have no money. She had a couple of dollars, I go gamble and go find some money and pay the bills, right? Like you keep it all the way around. We didn't have no furniture, but I'm going to the thrift store and I'm gonna go get us some pots from the Goodwill, and I'm gonna go find us a bed and get a table with a couple of screws in it and make it work. And so, you know, that's just how we started, but that ain't how we finished.
Oh, I know it ain't how you finished, because man, oh
yeah.
Yeah. So
God is amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, man.
He really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, even in college, before I got pregnant with Sabria, you know, I always had friends that would say, why choose him? He doesn't have a car. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. But I always said that I knew that he was going to have greater later. And so I always saw that he was, even though he wasn't going to his classes, I never thought that he wasn't smart. He's always been smart. And so I said, I'd rather sacrifice now and have greater later. I said, he's going to be somebody. He's going places. And so even if we had to catch the bus together, even they laughed at us because we caught the bus together. They laughed because we were in the cab together. But, you know, I always said he's going to do some mighty things. And so I was willing to sacrifice that and walk alongside him. And so I always encouraged him and believed in him.
Yeah. And for me, I just needed to know that I had somebody that I can trust and who had real values. Because I didn't have, I had them, but I wasn't living out. I wasn't living out my values, but but she did, right? And so I was like, you are like the most holiest person that I know, even though she didn't go to church, none of that stuff. I'm like,
the roles were reversed. He was the heathen in church. Where I was.
Yeah. That's probably right. But you know that her character, you know, her character and her integrity was very attractive to me, and it was safe. You know, it was safe for me. It was protective for me, and I knew that what we were going to build was going to be special because only God was putting this together. You know, I didn't even know how I got here. Like I did not know how I got here. My life was so chaotic in Chicago, and the things that were going on as a teenager and just being out in the street and all that kind of stuff, which most people don't think that if your family go to church that you got stuff like this going on, but it was full-fledged all the way live. And
raggedy. He was raggedy.
and my mother and my aunt, you know, they said, yeah, we're gonna send you down there to Lincoln and see if you can get it worked out. And you know, being at Lincoln, it changed the game. And so we're grateful.
Yeah.
So y'all are, you keep going back, but you don't want to talk about it. Like just briefly.
Which part?
Yeah.
I want people to see where they can come from, because it's a lot of people who probably are living your past now.
Oh yeah.
And they don't
yeah.
the hope of what God can do. So just briefly, how bad was it? What were you doing in Chi-Town?
He was shy away from going to jail. How about that?
Well, okay.
That's what he was. He was shy away from going to jail. He was doing all the wrong stuff. He was in the streets with his friends. They were doing bad things.
Yeah. I mean, you know, of course, she don't want me to say, but you know, again, all throughout, you know, born and raised in East St. Louis, growing up in the project, in the hole, coming out of that, going to Carbondale, really as a young person, dealing with a lot of racism, Ku Klux Klan kids, moving to Springfield, got into, of course, gang banging, being a part of a gang. Me and my cousin were both part of a gang, and going through that whole situation, then going to Chicago, where it just amplified. Like, you know, there's so many different things. We started a gang on the south side of Chicago, you know, so I can go story after story after story where, you know, we're in real serious situations, you know, guns. I never sold drugs or nothing like that, but we did a whole lot of fighting. It was a whole lot of crazy, and God kept me and kept keeping me over and over again, you know, as a junior, as a senior, even though I was an athlete, right? So I'm an athlete, but, you know, we drank every day, every single day. All my friends drank and smoked every day, 64 ounces of private stock every day, you know, crazy horse, all of that, like every day outside. And so, you know,
he did those by himself. I wasn't a part of
it. Yeah, no, she wasn't a part of it. And again, you know, you got loving parents, but they don't know what they don't know. And so you can be in a different world right down the block. And that's kind of what it was. And so, you know, they had to get me out of Chicago, you know, got kicked out the house, got to get out of get out of Chicago, and that's really what it was trying to do, trying to save my life. My friends, one of my close friends had just murdered a senior for her car. Got charged as the youngest in Illinois at that time for a murder as an adult. You know, I mean, these were things that were actively happening on the south side of Chicago, and you know, they was like, got to get me out of there, and they did, and I didn't know that destiny was waiting for me in Missouri. I really didn't know that a lot of my identity and who I was and who I was going to be was ready and embedded in this state, in this community, to be unpacked.
Wow.
And so I'm just really, really excited about that discovery because who I was is not who I am, and I'm still becoming.
Come
Wow,
on now.
man, that's amazing.
Oh yeah,
Come on.
man. I'll give you the other version when we get off camera.
Oh.
Meanwhile, I was in Catholic school. I
Yeah.
was doing just fine.
Yeah. Still didn't know Jesus. I get that.
I was with Mother Mary,
Father
Father John.
Yeah.
Just to see how your lives like started and now where you are, man, that's nothing but God.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Nothing but God.
There's people that be watching this that probably dating a dude that's probably in jail right now, or in the streets, and you know, or somebody who's dating somebody who's like, you know, maybe
Don't have it all together.
Just to see how God involvement, and I know folk was praying for you, man.
Oh man, listen, I got one of my, so you know, I might be hard-headed, but I got one of my wake-up calls in jail. I was in jail and as they closed the door and I sat there on that hard metal seat, I'm saying, God, this is not for me. Whatever you want me to do, like whatever I need to do to get my life right, I am willing to do it. And that began, you know, that whole process of coming out, right? Coming out of my sin, coming out of my behavior, and really stepping into my calling and ministry, and then trying to re-identify. You know, my friend told me, he said, "Hey man, you got to realize when you said you was going to the church, like the word went through the city. You know what I mean? And everybody was like, "Hey, going to where?" It's like you going to the church, but I had to break, right? I had to break away from what was holding me captive, and then all of my friends and all of the people that were used to me being one type of way, they had to accept that, you know, I was going a different way. And then I was trying to bring them with me. Some of them came, not many of them, but I was trying to tread a new road.
Wow.
Mind you, he was in jail only a couple of hours because I got him out. It was
I called
traffic violations and stuff. It wasn't nothing major.
It wasn't, you know, armed criminal activity. No.
He had warrants.
Yeah, from her tickets.
From his tickets.
From her tickets. From her tickets.
So Andrea, I got a question for you, Andrea. What is the importance of believing in your man?
Well, even though, for me, we've always been friends.
Okay.
I think that's the core of our relationship. I can call him my friend, my real friend. And it's not a lot. I think a lot of relations. Can you turn me back around? Oops, sorry.
This is going to be the perfect blooper.
Oh, yeah.
I think that it's so important that in relationships you have a friendship. I think that's the core of the relationship, and I believe that that's most important. Because if you don't have a friendship in your relationship, you're gonna lack in communication, you're gonna lack in intimacy, you're gonna lack in all those areas. And so if you can't talk to your partner and be very candid and authentic and actually have vulnerabilities with them, then your levels of intimacy in your marriage is going to be at a minimum. And so because we can laugh, we can play, so even when I have options to go on girls trips and things like that, But I'm like, no, I need to go with my friend, you know, because we get to have fun. We get to just be our authentic selves. And so that is so very important. I would say in any relationship that if you really want to know who your mate is, if he can be your friend, then you know that you found the love of your life and you got attraction. Oh, you winning.
And we winning, brother.
Winning.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So that's very important to me.
Have you seen relationships where they lose that friendship within marriage? Like, have you seen that at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I think the hard part is having the hard conversations.
Okay. Okay.
When somewhere along the line, and this is just for me, somewhere along the line, like if you've been together for years, sometimes you take people for granted. You don't see the value like you used to before because you've gotten engaged in other things. Maybe it's work, maybe it's church, maybe it's whatever. You've reprioritized your time, and so when you do that, you lose your main focus. And I always say that my main ministry, my main priority is my home and my marriage. And so whenever that focus is out of sort, then you do begin to get everything else out of sort. So I try to horn it in, and I try to encourage others that, hey, you need to make each other a priority. You need to be intentional about being intimate and being in communication with them and having those conversations, even if it's the hard conversations. But if you can't have hard conversations with your spouse, who else are you going to talk to? You're going to talk to your boss. No, you can't put more time into your work and everything else, and you refuse to take the time and put in your spouse. So
and I can tell y'all friends because we went to y'all wedding renewal. y'all,
oh, we keep it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. You gotta have fun.
Yes, we have a good time.
Yeah.
You know, but the other side of that for me is, yes, you know, you've seen people lose that friendship, but you know, truly we're meeting needs here. Like she has a set of needs that I'm here to meet, and vice versa. We understand that. You understand?
Elaborate on that. What do you mean?
Well, every relationship is about finding someone who can reciprocate that love and affection, but also meet those social, emotional, physical needs that you have as a human being. And so, you know, we have to fight to maintain the communication, because we also are fighting for that space that we are for each other, and that provision that we make for each other. And so if you're not willing to fight, you know, because there's I told the people Sunday, you know, life has an appetite for hard. You got to choose your hard. And so it's hard to be together, but it's hard to be alone. Right? So let's fight for the together. It's hard to be broke. So, you know, discipline might be hard, but it's hard to be broke. You know what I mean? So you choose your hard. And so, you know, these things are realities of our human existence together, and how we do life together really means that, yes, we understand the priority, and somebody at some time has to step up to mature, right? Somebody got to be mature. When I was immature, she was very mature. I needed that. She would talk some sense into my head, right? And in some cases, when she's not ready, God turns on another light. And I may have a place of maturity to say, you know, we can work through this. Let's find a way. Let's find a path, and let's start to initiate that and see the progress. Let's move forward.
Wow, that's good. So now the stuff you're saying, I got some questions out there, but I don't want to.
No, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Okay. So
you always have questions.
We literally got a question probably a few weeks ago. The person basically asked, like, how do I make time for my own personal goals while I'm in marriage? You know, where it was almost like, this is what I want to do, but the marriage is like pulling me in all different directions. Now, from two people who are very professional, y'all have goals out this world. How did you manage to actually come together and share those goals? Where it's not, you've seen marriages where people are selfish in marriage. Competition. Let me do my thing. But you all have managed like to bring the goals y'all had together and just make it work. Like,
yeah,
how do y'all do that?
Well, again, as her husband, as her friend, as her helpmate, right? My job is to make her dreams come true to the best of my ability. My job is to be the bolstering and the strengthening and the encouraging. And so when situations weren't working well, then I'm saying, yeah, let's quit the job. Let's start the business. Let's start the mortgage company. Let's do those things that you see as purpose and destiny and inner desire. And let's find ways to support that, because that's a part of my role and task as your husband, and to provide with new ideas and creativity and strength on how to accomplish that, right? We've got to have each other's back in that space. And so that's exactly what we did, and then we kind of took turns. So when she wanted to go back and get her first master's, I said, cool, I got the kids. Then I went and got my first master's. Then she went and got her second. Then I went and got my second. Then I got my doctorate. This is shared vision, shared dream, because we understand her success impacts my whole household, which impacts my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and the legacy that we leave. And so we've got to be, unified, that strength that we have together. And that's the reason why we've been brought together, is because we have capacity that's expounded by her strengths and my strengths being matched together and mobilized together.
And then too, I think it's also very important too that in order for each other to have wholeness, you have to allow space for them to allow for their individuality to expand. There's no way that I could want all of his time and he's not developing himself. Like, there has to be a space for him to have self-development, and so that he's able to bring something back to the table, and vice versa. And then in addition to him being married, I know prior to him being married, he also had other goals. And so it's my job to help him to gain those goals. What can I do to support? I'm the wheels behind his vision. So if I can be the wheels behind his vision to help him move forward, then again, it's impacting our household. He's leaving a legacy for our children. He's raising men and young women, and they see what it is, and that there are no excuses as to why you cannot. Because even with children, even with the lack thereof, we were still accomplishing and still achieving, in addition to failing, in addition to, you fail, you win, you fail, you win, and you just keep on moving, but you don't stop. And so just continuing to support is what you're supposed to do.
And another thing, Mike, if somebody has a disposition where the energy that it takes to be, in the marriage is so all consuming, that's something unhealthy there, right? That person may need personal development. They may need coaching. They may need relationship skill building. They may not have skills to have a good relationship or to communicate what they need to each other. And so, it shouldn't be daunting every day to be with the person that you love. Now, key is that you love, that you like, that you see future vision and opportunity with. You got to see that. You can't fabricate that. That's got to be genuine and got to be real.
Have you all ever had a point where one of you all just didn't have any vision at all? Like I don't know. Like, you just kind of almost, and this may not even apply to y'all, because y'all probably those motivated couples I know, but where you were just kind of dry, like, okay, I don't know what I want right now.
Well, I can give a good example.
Go ahead.
So, there was a time where, and people don't believe this, but I was very shy. I was very, very, very shy.
She ain't no more.
And so when I started off, when I started off in my master's program, I would literally have nervous breakdowns. Well, not nervous, but I would have meltdowns if I had to get up and speak in front of anyone. Like I would be very quiet, didn't really want to talk, didn't want to do anything. I would literally cry so that I would not have to speak. And so he saw that that was a deficiency for me. And so instead of him allowing me to stay in that space, he trained me for 5 years on how to speak, do public speaking. And so that was also one of the reasons why I didn't accept my calling into the ministry, because I knew that I would have to get up and speak in front of people. And that was a deficit for me. And so he would take me to the park, and it was this psychological training that he was doing on me, but he took me to the park and I would have to stand on the jungle gym, you know, the little bench thing. And I would literally talk to the trees. And so he made it so that I would be so uncomfortable, but I was talking to the trees and I wasn't focused on who I was looking at, but I was focusing on what I was saying and what I was doing. So immediately after that, after I became acclimated with speaking and feeling comfortable in my own self, and he always told me what I had that was inside of me that I couldn't see. And so once I started to believe it and started to execute, then I started to walk in it. And so then immediately after that, that's when I became the director of finances at Link University. And I had to talk in front of all of these people. And it was just very timely. It was timely. It was very, it was right on time. And so that was a deficiency that he saw, that he spoken to me, that helped me to move forward, to be a better sense of self. So
right on.
Yeah.
But let me give you one better, because when Andria went through cancer, and as she was facing cancer, of course, losing two very, very good jobs, great jobs, losing those jobs, having financial setback, there's a period of time where she had to find herself again as her body was becoming stronger. Now we have to redefine, right? We have to find new identity, new strength, and new purpose. And so her desire to live, and to live vivaciously, and then go out here and tackle the world, that had to be jump started. And I think that's another place where, you know, our faith in God, our perspective about what God can do, and just believing that even though it's uncomfortable for a season, if we just keep trusting him, that he will continue to lead us in the right direction. And now, as the director of, what's your new title?
Employee Engagement and Outreach Division.
Employee Engagement and Outreach Division, not that other thing we're not going to say, for the Department of Transportation. And, you know, again, finding that space where purpose and identity is now maximized, and she has the strength to go out here and be exactly who she's been called to be.
Man,
that is just so beautiful. That's so, oh, that is beautiful.
Oh yeah, you know, it's the bounce back.
you know, there. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and that's what you would do for a friend. That's what you do for a friend, to see that, and then to say, you know, hey, let me help you.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, we met each other as kids, right? We met each other as kids. Well, I'm 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
And so if she didn't have a skill, she didn't know how to speak, or she didn't know how to speak the way that she wanted to, and particularly the way that she needed for the assignment that was in front of her. So I give her what I have, right? She didn't know how to fight, I teach her how to fight. She didn't know how to do other things, I teach her how to do other things, just like she was teaching me emotional intelligence and how to be quiet sometimes, right?
Gotta tap in.
How to tap in, because I'm like, phew, I'm gone. And so she helps me to see a perspective about people, and even relationships and communication, that wasn't my main thing. But now I've got skills in that area because of how she's helped me to see it. That's what we do for each other.
That's beautiful.
But it's almost like you all have, like, you see the weakness in your spouse, and you're like, okay, or your friend, I'm gonna be that strength.
Yeah.
You're not irritated or annoyed by it. You like either. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that always how it is? Like we can see somebody else's faults super fast.
Yes.
Like I am a professional. I can see a flaw quickly.
Yes,
right? I can see something out of place quickly. So that's not my strong suit. But she wakes up in the morning and the birds are twerking and she's singing and the sunshine and I'm like, why are you so happy? You know what I mean? But I've learned from that, and she's learned from me, and so that's what it is. We work it together.
Yeah.
But that takes humility. That really does. Now, brother, I need you to speak to some men out there because I normally hear men always say, when I was down, when my woman was there for me, it was always the woman pulling up and strengthening the man. But just hearing a man say, you know what, I'm gonna strengthen and pour a woman. Like, would you encourage some brothers? Because that's a different type of thinking, man, for real.
Oh, absolutely. I got this from my father, right? My father's father. We are men, and we understand the responsibility of being husband, house man, the one who holds it together.
Yeah.
And so for the men that are out there, again, one, recognize that you have been gifted for this. That God has ordained and given you favor to be this person, to carry this particular type of strength, and not just physical fortitude, but emotional fortitude as well. That resilience in you, brother, is there so that you can face the bear and you can cuddle the baby at the same time. Those are the things that God has gifted you to be and to do. And the example of the fathering nature of our God gives us great example about how to have power and strength, but also how to have meekness or power under control. And that's where the self-discipline and the place where you are a worshiping man, also a loving father, also a protector, provider, that's where all those things come together.
And kind. You got to be nice.
Don't be no pushover though.
Got to be nice.
Don't be too soft.
You gotta be nice.
Yeah.
Yes, you gotta be nice.
That is beautiful, man.
And then too, I wanted to say too, it's good when you have a spouse that can speak to the unspoken. So sometimes you don't even know what you need, and sometimes you may be afraid to say what you need because no one wants to look stupid. But for someone to speak life into a space that you're not even willing to talk about, that was monumental for me. So, yeah.
Now, and I want to break away real quick because I know you have a book that you deal with some stuff, man. Let me tell you something real quick, and we're gonna go back and talk about some other stuff. Please, now when I got your book, do you know that the Holy Spirit? I don't know if I shared this with you. The Holy Spirit told me read his book. I said okay, and you know how we get books all the time. It's so many books, like you try to read a little bit, read there. He made me read the whole book, and I'm like, okay, this brother got the all inside. It was beautiful, man. It was an amazing book, man. Can you just share some about your book, man?
Absolutely. So I wrote a book called Hater Proof, Developing a Hater-Proof Mindset. And the premise of the book was based on my research on mindset, growth mindset, incremental theory. So the idea here, as it relates to mindset, is that we can change over time, right?
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the frame of what I approached when I started thinking about this. But then my experience for the last 25, 30 years has been with haters. And so I've dealt with this thing. So I kept trying to figure out, how do we define these habitual antagonists, right? How do we define these persons? And so when I was doing my master's degree, I started learning about Myers-Briggs and profiling and so on and so forth. And so I was able to profile the different types of haters. And so the vexer, the pretender, the bully, the manipulator, the liar, all of these particular profiles, because I wanted people to be able to see, if you see this behavior, I want to help you identify this is what's happening This is the strategy. This is the goal, right? But then also, what do you do? So the book is designed for people to build a bulletproof mindset, right? So that you're not psychologically bullied at work. You're not being gaslit at home, where you really have a strategy to build yourself from the inside out using affirmation, visualization, the word of God, a real strategy about being intentional, how to see the people and even see where they may have need and where they are broken and where they have places that are not necessarily whole in them, but also be able to now build a plan for a successful, purposeful, intentional life. And so that's what Hater Proof really frames. And I hope people, when they read it, you know, most of the people, when they read it, they be like, oh, they see faces. Like, that's Tony. I knew Tony, you know, that's exactly, that's exactly what he did. But hopefully it'll be an instrument to help people to understand what's happening around them and then make some better decisions.
Okay, where can they get this book? Okay.
You can get this book from Amazon.com. You can get it from Lulu.com. Yeah, go to Lulu.com. Just type in Hater Proof and my name, Dr. Adrian Hendricks II, and pull it right on up. We'd love to have you all support and check it out. Write me a review. You know, let me know what you think about the material. I think that when people see it, it helps them not to be so thrown by what you see, but be able to quickly identify how people are moving. And then now you can know how to negotiate and how to build a bridge, maybe be intentional about bringing peace or bringing resolve to a situation. I think that our young men in particular, if they knew how to handle their haters better, we would have less deaths in gun violence, that we would have less fighting in high schools, that we would know how to not only identify what's happening, but then now build a strategy for how to bring resolution to that. So we can move bullying and some of those painful things that we see in communities. We move that stuff out of the way because we've upped our game and our IQ in the type of scenarios that we're seeing played out in our lives.
Man, that's beautiful. So make sure y'all get Amazon and make sure you type a good review. The more good reviews he gets, the more they actually push it as well. So please, Hater Proof. Look, okay, now, all right, Sister Andria.
Can you turn my chair back on?
She's just floating in the chair, isn't she?
All right.
Get me this high chair.
So I want you to talk to me for a minute. You mentioned your illness and had to shoulder that burden and be a wife. How did God help you navigate? Like, because there are people who watching, and there's some people, or one spouse is sick, or they may be a spouse that's going through something. How do you not lose the role that God has given you as a wife and still like that burden?
Oh, one thing that I can say that helped me through the whole process was worship. That was all I could do. I was going through depression. So as I was going through depression, I had no words, because I was trying to figure out how is this my life, and so, after going through 13 surgeries, going through chemo, going through radiation, going through 3rd-degree burn, that was very hard for me. It was very traumatizing, rather. And so still trying to show up as a mother and as a wife, that was very difficult. And so I believe that in that time period, because there was nothing I could offer. And so the only thing that I can do to help sustain myself was to worship. And so I believe that because I was at such a low place, that he had to take the place, and he had to be that strength in my weakness, because I had nothing to give. And that's where, that's when you can tell where true love really is, because it's in those times, when it's good, it's good. But what about when you face things that are out of your control? will you be able to stand? I mean, I didn't have any money coming in, and I had a very lucrative salary, and then all of my salary was gone, but then he had to cover everything. And so my worry during that time was for who's going to help him, because he still had to make sure all the bills were paid. He still had to come through and do all of those things. And not only that, but he had to give me baths. He had to cut my hair. Even with my 3rd-degree burn, he had to get all of the skin off of me. He had to remove all of the skin that was blistering off of my body. And so I wasn't even thinking about the trauma that he has to deal with as he's seeing me go through. But I was just trying to get through. But I had to learn how to rest, and my resting was in worship. And so I just continued to worship and cry and just believe that God was going to heal me, even though I didn't know if I was going to die tomorrow, but that was the only thing that I had to hold on to. So everything is not going to be a bed of roses. And I always tell people not to get so caught up in the physical, even though you have physical attraction with one another. But I also say that you're one accident from beauty. You're one accident from beauty. So there has to be a different type of love that you have for one another, because it's not going to always be that way. You're not going to always be spruced up. And so even when I had to get both breasts removed, that was hard for me, and so my whole body was transforming right before my eyes, and I had no say so in the process at all. But I had to keep living and do my best. And again, all I had to hold on to was worship. So that was the key for us. That was the key for me.
The fact you're able to talk about that is brave.
Yeah, I can talk about it now, because before it was difficult, and I would cry when I would have to tell my story. And that's how I know that I'm healing, because now I can speak through it and not cry about it, and know that this was just a space in my life, but it's not my life.
That's beautiful. And I think it's good for somebody to hear, because I think a lot of people, when they get married, they don't really consider for in sickness and in health, but that's part that it's not always real to people when they don't,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did worship actually, like when you say you worship, what did that look like? Did you actually sing to the Lord? Like what did you?
Yes, Tamala Mann's "You Know My Name." That song got me through so many hard nights. It would be 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. I would worship and have that song on repeat until the mid hours of the morning, because that was the thing that I felt like God did not forget about me.
Wow.
And so I would just hear that song, and I would just worship and pray throughout that time. And that's all I could hold on to. And so worship through song, and I was reading my word. And and it was so funny, because during that time frame, because I was so weak, I couldn't hardly walk, and it was just all of these different facets that my body wouldn't allow me to do. But I wanted to go to church so bad. Like, I just wanted to be in the house of the Lord, because I felt like it would do something different for me. So when I was able to go to church, it was a reward. That was a treat for me, because I couldn't be around a lot of people, and I really wasn't up. My physicality and capabilities were very limited, so I couldn't do a whole lot of stuff. But in my worship, that's where I felt like I got my strength, and I felt like hope. I had more hope. More hope was being deposited into me, for the lack of better words. Yeah.
Yeah. So she was around the house trying to be mini Tasha Cobb, singing all off key, everything.
And I cannot sing.
But the worship was real. The worship was real.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but we can make light of it now. But
yeah.
How did you handle it? Like, how did God get you through that?
Oh, brother, listen. When you realize that you're in a fight, you got to go fight. And my attitude was, whatever I had to do. We got up in the morning, we started doing prayer calls. People were calling from all over the world, from Africa to, I mean, places I had no idea that this story would reach out. And the prayer warriors, the intercessors, we got to work. And, you know, again, you got to keep it in mind, you know, my sister just died the week before. So we were dealing with that. Then, of course, my wife and the cancer a week later. Another one of my mentors, one of my other mothers, she was diagnosed in breast cancer the same week. So this trifecta was happening. And, you know, when you know that you're under attack, this is what that is. And now you don't have time to be emotional. I didn't have time to be emotional. I had to fight for my wife. I had to fight for these people. And so I had to put everything to the side. We had to focus on, of course, keeping the church and the church running and thriving and doing all that. But everything else, you know, I had to focus. Everything else had to move out the way so that I could be a voice of strength to her. And then also, I got children that are watching.
Wow.
My kids are watching. They are watching and crying, and I've got to remind them who we believe in, and they've got to see a father go into warfare for his family and see what that really means. That we have a standard here that we're upholding, and the Lord got me through, man. I honestly, I don't know how we did not crumble, but God got me through.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
You all look anything like what y'all been through. I mean,
Amen. Amen to that.
Amen.
Even though she's getting old, you know what I mean?
The lies.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
wow.
I do have one last question. I don't know what you.
I don't.
You know, this is something that you keep saying, and I think there are couples who need to hear this, because I don't know how many marriages where I can honestly say that both people have a marriage that's built on worship and prayer. How has that contributed to the health of your marriage?
Oh, child.
Are you for real?
And you all, and I'm sure you I know you counseled, and you know that they lack that. Almost like if you at least implement this, like
It was just bow.
just bow down to him.
Yeah.
Just this. Like speak to that, man, because y'all got my heart like over here. Stuff. This folk I know don't worship during good times. Like, you talk about something like that.
But just hearing your story, like, I am a person, and I'm always talking. Like, I'm speechless, but I'm blown away by what the Lord has done.
Well, you know, I believe that you're fortified in the closet. You know what I mean? And so Andria will tell you there were some seasons of our life where I can tell you 4 or 5 years straight, I'm in the closet. I'm in the prayer closet. When you look for me, where are you going to find? You were going to find me on the floor, in the basement, in the closet, on a bunch of covers with some pillows, trying not to have my bones hurt, with books and Bibles around, trying to listen to God, right? Because the vision of this church and to walk in this, all that had to be cultivated. That was 12 years. 12 years prior to launch time, right? The finding identity had to be fortified and forged. And I asked God, you have to show me who I am. I don't know. You have to talk to me and help me to understand who I am. I cannot be present strength and I can't be present advocate. I can't be present protector if I don't know who I am. And so God had to build that in me, and I get to carry from the residue of that out into the world. And so, you know, that's your charging station, right? That's where you get built up. And it took some time to do that. And then we just fell in love with this idea that God would choose us. Like, God would choose us. Okay, all right. So he choosing us, and he's equipped us, and now we understand that charge, and we're just trying to be diligent with doing what we have to do to represent him well.
You know,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say something else that I found that is so beautiful about you all is that each time we would visit your church, that your children are even in ministry with y'all. That is, I mean, the children that you've raised up your children and they are working in ministry with you.
And they're excited about it. We don't have to force them. They will come to the church before we're there. And we don't have to, it's a place that's joyous for me, because I'm like, you know, some people are angry. I mean, some children are not excited because they have, I'm sorry, I keep swirling in this chair. But you know, they willingly come to church. They willingly want to be a part of, and they're excited about it. So that makes me happy as well. And that makes it know that this is home when they're able to come willingly and still be excited about it. But one thing I also wanted to add about prayer and in relationships and in marriage, I didn't always know how to be a wife. You know, that was not something that came naturally for me. And so when we first got married, you know, I used to ask my mom, I was like, Mom, I said, why you and Daddy don't never argue? Like, me and Adrian be over there going at it, especially. I was like, what am I doing wrong? You know, but my mom, she told me, she said, it's not that we don't argue. She was like, we just don't argue in front of you guys. And so I had to learn how to understand that even when we had our differences, maybe not express immediately what I got to say, because if I said what I have to say immediately, oh, it's about to go down. So I had to learn a process, and that process included prayer. So sometimes I just had to not talk at all. And then I learned through my interaction in church and listening and taking the wisdom that I was trying to actually apply what I was learning. So when they would go to bed, I would just go through my house and I would just start praying. Next thing you know, they wake up, I'm praying over their head and, you know, praying for us. I got anointed oil all over his clothes.
Yeah, I did wake up slippery a couple of times.
He wake up oily and, you know.
I didn't quite know what was going on, but I figured it out.
So, but I really had to incorporate prayer and understand how to navigate in this situation, because it's hard. You know, it is really hard. And if you do not, I don't know, listen, I tell people all the time, I don't know how you function in life without God in the midst of your stuff. And definitely, if you think you about to have a harmonious marriage and you ain't got Jesus in it, you are sadly mistaken. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care. It is not going to work if you do not incorporate Jesus in the middle of your relationship.
Yeah.
If you don't learn how to pray together, to listen, ask for wisdom, ask for discernment, you know, if you're not asking for these things and actually allowing God to put the gate around your marriage, it is not going to work.
But let me tell y'all another secret, because she probably won't say this. Her and the Holy Ghost got a thing going on, and I don't know what it is. But he be talking, you know what I mean? Like he be talking, and she didn't understand it for a long time. But it has given wisdom and help you to know, oh, this is where I need to focus. This is where I need to pray. This is where I need to intercede. This is where the work is. And so just having that relationship with God and being able to hear God talk to you and know what to do with it, it makes a big difference.
What you mean hear God talk to you? Come on, talk, man.
I'm saying, man.
Breaking no, the reason I'm asking, because there are people watching this who don't have a clue of what that's like. So break it down, grade school level.
Or there are people who don't even believe
yeah.
God speaks.
Speaks. Tell us, like, how.
Well,
what it look like.
Let me tell you how God talks to me, right? Okay. So I'll give an example. When I was a little boy, my dad, he's a law guy, you know what I mean? So all these things were about puzzles. So we would be riding in the car with him, and he would have us look at license plates and try to figure out what the license plate said, okay? So that became a thing. All of my life, from that time to now, I will have a question in my mind, and a car will pull up next to me with an answer on the license plate. Are you
serious?
Wow.
It happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
I listen to what I'm saying. I have a thought in my mind, a question that I'm asking God. I'm asking God a question. Lord, I mean, what's the deal with A, B, and C? What do a car will literally pull up in front of me with the answer on the license plate. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me God don't know how to talk to you. He know how to talk to me. Sometimes, of course, I'm having a thought. I'm having dialogue with God in my mind. I turn on the radio. He tells it to me in a song. The song is singing the answer, and it takes it a couple. I'm like, oh, you okay? You funny now. You know what I mean? and I think the secret of hearing God is being intentional about listening for him, because he'll talk to you in a way that makes sense to you.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so I had to learn the ways that God communicated with me. I had to learn that when the thought came to mind quickly, I needed to be very conscientious. Oh, he's listening. So I just started, as soon as he started talking, I start typing, or I'll pick up my phone and I'll record it so that I won't miss it. Because he's always, if you dial in, if you get on the frequency, you dial in with God, he'll talk to you. He will give you that information that you need, and so some people are on red light, green light, that's their level. Or do I got a red light or do I got a green light? So you stay at red light, green light level. And others are waiting for instruction. And so you're listening for instruction.
So how, Miss Andria?
I get mine downloaded in my dreams.
Wow.
So I may have a problem one day, and then I go to sleep at night and I'm asking God before I'm just, I'm a worry wart. And I know they say you shouldn't worry, that's sin and all that. I get it. But I feel like I'm in purpose when I worry. Because I'm wasting a lot of time. So that's my weakness. Just pray for me. But as I'm praying about what's going on, and I'll ask God, well, how am I supposed to do this? He literally downloads step by step on how I'm supposed to process this. And then the next day I get up and I execute what actually took place in my dream, what I saw in my dream. And I'm like, oh my God, all I have to do is blah, 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 blah. But God showed it to me. And that's how it works. That's how it's been working for me for some time now. And so I just learned to wait. But I also want to say too, because, people get in this idea that marriage is a fairy tale and it's supposed to be a bed of roses. And marriage is not always that way. You are going to encounter some hard times. And you are going to, it's not going to be a straight path. It's not going to be that way. But you just have to learn. You really are going to have to hold on to your faith. You really are going to have to learn how to pray together. You are going to have to learn how to be in alignment with one another. And you're going to have to learn how to hold on to one another in order to get through these storms, because your storms are going to come. And sometimes it may be longer than what you anticipate. However, it's not going to last forever, but you have to wait to get on the other side of the storm and not give up. And so as long as you don't give up, you can make it work, but you have to have both parties engaged and both parties with their hands in the ring, because if not, one person can't do it by themselves. You have to be willing to work together to pull each other through and don't give up on each other. Just keep working at it. And you know, you may have some seasons that you're going to go through. You're going to go through those seasons, but you can't give up. And if you're with the right person, you won't give up, because you both will continue to fight for one another, regardless of what it is that you encounter. You'll continue to fight for one another.
That's beautiful. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
love y'all. I love
Yeah. Yeah. And we love y'all.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know, look, y'all know, Mike and Chris Malone, them was my heroes.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And I told everybody, and they already understand. Like, when I grow up, I'm trying to be like these brothers right here.
You know, the Lord had to see you, Andria, be like, man, you shoot too low, man. I'm trying to get it, and you all were the models that I had. Oh,
you know, and so I was very delighted that God put us together at such a young age, and we got to see each other's growth and expansion. But as it relates to them dreams, though, when I tell you, when God told her and showed her how to fight the city, when the city was taking the church building, and they were going to take it and knock it down and make a street out of it, and the Lord gave her a strategy, and just so many different things that I can tell you about God intervening and using, you know. So if I didn't listen to her, even though it sounded strange, if I didn't listen to her,
stressed me out so bad.
if I didn't listen to her, then I wouldn't have what God was giving me. He was giving me a key, but he was giving it through her for the next place of success. And he does that same thing. She might not know how to start her mortgage company business or whatever. I got a plan. And so we would find a way to strategize together. If we listen to each other, we can make it happen.
That's right.
Listen, you have to listen, Linda. You gotta listen.
I know.
I've seen so many times that when we do it together, it explodes.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference in marriage.
Yeah.
You know, the parts that I miss, you know, he has it. So that is.
And I be missing a lot of stuff. She got it all. Like, I'm like, okay.
That's not true.
You fight a different battle. That's all.
Right.
All right. Okay. We'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah, absolutely.
But I thank God for you all, man. I just listen. If you all are watching this, please go get his book. Yes, Hater Proof. Hater Proof. And it's what Hater Proof. Developing a hater-proof mindset. Developing a hater-proof mindset. You get on Amazon. What is the other platform?
Lulu.com. It's the publishing clearinghouse that I work with. Lulu, LULU.com. But yeah, you can find the book. Love to have your feedback.
Yes.
Hopefully it will make a difference. Get it to your young men, your young women out there that are in high school, that are in college, those that are in careers, that are frustrated by supervisors that are toxic, that you have, you know, you just need to have a game plan. And so hopefully it helps.
Yeah. And hopefully you'll be coming out with your other books, plural.
Yes.
You know I'm working. Yeah. You know I'm working.
He got to have balance. We got to have balance in
yes.
stuff.
Yes.
Brother,
yes.
Yes. We gotta have some fun in between all this other stuff.
Yeah, I've been focused for 10 years, so I'm trying to, you know, trying to dose in, dose in the work.
You have some books coming out too. What's going on?
She's got a dissertation to write. She's got a dissertation to finish writing.
I'm finishing my dissertation, and I do have a book. Yes.
Yeah. Well, wait. So when is it coming? Is it like?
I'm working on that.
When is it coming?
I'm working on that.
Listen, I love you all. Like, I just seeing the couples, the authors, entrepreneurs, pastors, look, city developers,
business
owners. Like, for real, man. That's amazing.
Teachers.
From where you all started to what God did now.
That's right.
Truly amazing. So
who would have thought?
Thank you all so
Thank
much.
y'all so much.
Oh my.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for thinking of us.
That was Jesus. I'm
telling
telling you. He literally, as soon as I asked, he just showed me your face.
Yeah.
Like, you need to call Big A right now. He was like, oh.
And she had an open vision. We were talking about it. She was sitting in the living room. I said, "Okay, who we gonna get next?" And she had an open vision and saw you.
Yeah. So. You hear the conference coming? You hear the conference? You hear it? You hear it?
Yeah. Yeah. Right before.
She been wanting that for the longest, man.
It's coming. Yeah. That's right. It's coming.
Y'all coming and y'all coming.
That's right. That's right.
So very needed.
Yeah.
It's so very needed. And just to see young couples, you know, and it's been years that y'all been together, but you all are still a young couple. To see this is mind blowing, and it will help so many people. Your story, all I see is the people on here the whole time. They just been hearting it up, and you know, yeah. I'm excited, but we need to talk about that because we do need to do that.
I'm telling you, it's on the way. Let's go.
We do.
I always shy away from this stuff. She always put me in, man.
I have to snap him and say, "Hey,
let's do it."
Even doing this, it will help people, and then we don't have to spend so much time in counseling."
That's right.
No.
But you have to be.
Here you go. You know.
Yeah, I was also going to say that, you know, the key to it as well, you have to be willing to listen to wise counsel. You don't know it all. And if you don't have people in your corner that's going to help build you up, hold you accountable, and tell you when you are wrong, because you are wrong sometimes.
Yes.
But if you're not willing to listen to that, you're not wanting to grow. You just want to be heard. You just want to hear yourself talk.
Yeah.
And so you have to be willing to listen to wise counsel and so that you can become better.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So hopefully you have a dream and figure out how the whole conference thing will be.
Let's go. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Well, we love you guys, man. Thank you so much for inviting us to your platform and letting us come and be ourselves. You know, we both was like, we didn't have busy days today, but we gonna be right here. We ready to rock and roll. So thank you for letting us come and hang out with you.
Even with this ponytail, I got this ponytail in my head. I ain't have my hair done. But I said, for you, I got you.
We thank you. So
see y'all later.
Thank y'all for y'all testimony.
Yes.
My pleasure.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. All right. Love you guys.
All right. God bless you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.